Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another spring sport edition of Longhorn Weekly, heard here all across the state of Texas and the great Southwest on the Longhorn IMG radio network and seen by those of you watching right here on the Longhorn Network. My name is Craig Way. Happy to have you with us. Happy to be joined by University of Texas men's tennis coach Michael Center, who has his team back in the NCAAs for the 23rd consecutive year and a Big 12 Conference championship to boot as well. Congratulations on that. I know you and everybody else is very excited about it.
You're always excited to win a conference championship, particularly in a year where, in the Big 12, we only have 6 men's teams. 5 of them qualified for the tournament. 3 of the teams were in the top 5 to 7 the whole year. So it was a very competitive conference. So for us to get a piece of that title was pretty special.
You started ranked 20th in the nation, and you began that rise up by playing that very difficult, tough schedule early on. Some outstanding teams, Vanderbilt, one of those along the way as well. When did you get a good indication of just how good your squad was going to be?
Well, it's funny. At the end of last year, we went over. We were improving. And we played A&M in the second round of the NCAAs. We lost a tiebreaker in the third, last match on. A couple things happened. We could have very easily won that match. And I saw that we were starting to get there. I knew we had some good players coming forward. If we stayed on path and everybody did what they were supposed to do over the summer, continued to work, I felt like we had a chance to be pretty good this year, and that's pretty much what happened.
Is it gotten to the point now, because you're just such an old pro at this now, that where you can get that feeling early on when you see in a difficult non-conference, because you beat 4th-ranked Georgia,
Sure.
playing those teams, that you get an early feel that this could be a really special group if things continue on the path that you want them to go?
No, there's no doubt. There's signs early on. We saw them in the fall. We saw them last summer, guys going out and putting up results, showing that they were continuing to improve. We saw them in the fall. Someone like Lloyd Glasspool started to emerge as a national caliber player. George Goldhoff comes right in, beats the #1 ranked player in the country. Adrian Berkowitz, another addition, starts to show, wins our fall invite. So the pieces were starting to come together. Nick Nauman was improving. The guys, several guys, David Hollander, Sedal. So we started to have the pieces, and it was just up to us to continue to train them. And I felt like if we continued to stay on that path, that we had a chance to compete with anyone this year.
It's interesting. You bring up the fact that your squad is one of 6 that play in the Big 12, and yet every year in football and basketball and baseball, I can go down the list. Everybody talks about how the Big 12 Conference in just about every single sport is at or right near the top of the heap in terms of quality, nationally known conferences. And with only 6, it apparently is no exception to the rule in men's tennis.
Well, it's challenging because every conference match is a real test. There are no matches that we walk into in our conference where, okay, we can get this one and get ready every single time. TCU did not make the tournament. The one team, and they lost 4-3 to Oklahoma, who's the #2 seed nationally. We beat TCU twice in very challenging matches. So everybody was good. Everyone was nationally competitive. I think between Baylor, ourselves, and Oklahoma, we were 10-0 against the SEC this year. So that shows you right there how tough the conference was.
Yeah, you bring up the fact that Oklahoma would be a 2 seed, and we'll get to your draw in just a minute, but the mere fact, and I always hear coaches talk about this, when you play in a league like this, it has to prepare you mentally, physically, schematically for the NCAAs coming up when you play a difficult conference schedule like you're in.
Sure. It's interesting. Our sport is a little bit different than, say, like football, where you've got that big game coming with OU, or you've got now Baylor is come up. In our sport, the RPI is very important. The strength of schedule and how you get ranked is critical. So if we wanted to obtain a high national seed, we have to go out and play a very competitive schedule. So we try to play a very competitive non-conference schedule, and obviously we know the conference schedule is waiting for us. It's not as deep as some conferences as far as the amount of matches that you'll get, but we want to challenge our guys every time when we go out, because our goal is to win the national championship. And so the more tough situations they're in, the better prepared we are.
First regular season title since 2010. What does it mean?
Yeah. Well, it means a lot. It really does. We got a little spoiled. I think from 05 to 06 to 10, we 3 Final Fours, and we were winning conference championships, played a national title match. And, 2010, we were the 3 seed. We went undefeated in the conference, undefeated in the regular season. And, you start to kind of get used to lighting the tower and playing in the Final Four. And we lost a couple guys. One guy turned pro. And really in 2012, we started over. Soren was a freshman. Lloyd was a freshman. We had a very young team. And so this was really special because I've gotten to watch these guys develop through the course of a lot of hard work, and to watch a guy like Soren, hasn't been officially named, but he should be the Conference Player of the Year. He was undefeated in the conference, didn't lose a set, and we've had, I think, 3 or 4 guys ranked in the top 10 in the country in our conference. So yeah, it's been really neat to see. So to stand in front of that tower the other night was really special.
You brought up starting over in 2012. And every coach that I've known on campus here over the course of over 20 years that has had a long term of success as you have had, has had that point where you kind of start over. And I've had coaches tell me that's difficult, A, to realize, B, to accept, and C, to be able to implement to make the change. How difficult was it for you to flip it, to get it turned when you realized that it had to turn?
It's tough. It's tough. You click on the rankings and you're used to seeing your name up there at the top, and you have to start scrolling down to find your name, 15 to 20. It's not like we fell off the map, but we were definitely not in the mix at the national level that we wanted to be in. And so but you want to stay within yourself. You don't want to just start trying to get short-term fixes and try to find a guy. Oh, if I get this guy for a year, and which can happen in tennis a little bit more often than other sports. People will transfer in maybe internationally here or there. So I wanted to stay with what I knew worked, and I think we stayed with it. Ricardo and myself, we've been together for 12 years, and we just said, you know what, let's keep working. Let's keep working. It was a little frustrating. Last year, I thought that we started to get better, and we deserved to be in a top 10, top 15 team. Lost a very difficult match, but I knew if we just stayed the course and continued to work at it, that we would get back to where we wanted to be.
Let's talk about the NCAA's 9th seed and hosting at home for the first time since 2010. Let me get your thoughts on where you feel this group is now, and looking at the draw. You've got Marist coming in on May 9th, and then a really good Mississippi State team plays Lafayette also there.
Right.
What about your thoughts on your draw?
Well, we've deserved this draw. We earned the right to play at home, being one of the top 16 teams. Actually, we were number 1 seed in 2011, and we got shipped out. And then the next year, they changed the rule that the number 1 seeds could host. So that was a little challenging. So it's nice to be back at home playing. We've got a great opportunity to move forward to Athens, and then the next phase of the tournament starts. But I think our guys will be ready. They're training hard and starting to get hot, which is an advantage for us to be able to practice in the heat. Some schools up north don't get that opportunity to try to get ready to go to Athens and play in the heat and humidity. So I think these guys will be ready.
This is a question I always ask coaches as well when you get ready to play the NCAA tournament. How much do you know about your first round opponent? How much do you know about the Red Foxes of Marist of Schenectady, New York?
Don't know much. I glanced at their results today, and what they've done, and I know they'll come in and they'll play very hard. I'm not going to give you coach speak. We're going to be much better than them. We play a different schedule. They're a conference qualifier. They're coming in here. They'll be very excited. They'll give us their best shot, but I feel like we should move forward through that match and you play the winner of Mississippi State and Louisiana Lafayette. I think Mississippi State's a proven SEC team. They've been in the round of 60. They've competed at this level. They're at the national indoor, so they would probably be the favorite in that match, and probably the team for us to beat to move on.
If that does hold up, is there, I don't know if comfort level is the right phrase here, but just knowing how your team has performed against SEC teams this year, if you draw another one?
Well, I think our guys will be confident. We don't want to be overconfident, but I think they'll feel they've played very well at home. They've beaten teams in the SEC. We've seen them play. We've seen some of their players. We don't know them that well. We haven't faced them. We've seen some of the teams that they've played against. We'll get a chance to watch them on that Friday. So I don't want to rule out Louisiana Lafayette either, but I think that our guys right now are, you take one match at a time, but their goals are to move out of Austin and move to Athens and be ready to do some damage in Athens.